we are going to now introduce the persons that will be speaking with us today. The first person that's, I can't see Freddie on the, Freddie, are you there?
Yes,
Oh,
I am.
yes, I can see you. Thank you very much. So Freddie is one of them. I'm going to allow them introduce themselves. And then Janet is also a second person. And as it said, we're going to take the lady first. She gives us, introduces herself to us. Freddie, you introduce yourself after her.
Freddie first.
We make
Freddie first.
No, I think we're going to do ladies first.
No, Freddie first.
No, let's do ladies first.
Freddie better.
So
Freddie
Janet,
better.
please, let's go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Just as you said earlier, I'm Janet Zaga, and I'm a current Chevening Scholar at the Robert Gordon University. Please, can you confirm that you can hear me clearly?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you very clearly.
Okay, so I'm a current Chevening Scholar at the Robert Gordon University, and I'm studying energy management. So just a brief summary about my background. I had my first degree in petrochemical engineering in Nigeria, and I've always been passionate about the energy industry and creating positive impact in the industry. And that was one of the main drivers for my master's, because after my first degree, I had a little experience in the industry. And after doing some research, I discovered that the industry has been faced with a lot of challenges with the issues with the energy transition, decarbonization, and just meeting the energy demands of the world. So I wanted to go further to study about the whole energy landscape, and that was what led me to apply to the scholarship. So I'm currently wrapping up my master's degree, my last semester at the moment. Also, I think that's all about me for now.
Okay.
So let me let Freddie. Freddie, you can talk now.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So Janet is an energy transition expert. That's what we should have at the back of our minds, just in case. Freddie, please go ahead.
Yes, hello everyone. So my name is Freddie Bilombo. I'm from the Republic of Congo. And yeah, I'm currently a Chevening Scholar at the University of Reading. I'm doing a Master of Science in Climate Change and Development. And yeah, the master is focused on energy and ecological economics, but the title is Climate Change and Development. And so my background is in engineering as well. I'm an engineer. And I graduated from UKAKITAM. It's a French engineering school, like a regional university in Central Africa. So I did my first degree with a fully funded scholarship offered by Total Energy. So after that, I was working in the oil and gas industry for 5 years. I worked in Angola, and in Congo, I was a subsea engineer. And yeah, so at some point I was passionate about economics, so I decided to leave so I can learn more about energy transition and focus on transition matters in Central Africa. So currently I'm just working on my dissertation. It's about ending energy poverty. So I'm exploring the nexus of energy poverty and economic growth in Central Africa. So that's it.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much. So I think we have three people with engineering backgrounds, and Freddie is also one of those energy experts that we have here today. So now we have people still joining. Yes. Hello. Yeah, so I think everybody should just be mute except you are called upon to speak. For questions, we're going to give a good quality time for discussions towards the end, but it will be important that we don't interrupt the discussion so that we're able to meet up with all the targets that we have for today. Yeah, so we make progress because the number one thing about a scholarship is finding it. Number two is actually applying for it. Number three is going through the interview process. And then number four is life after you get the scholarship. Now, I think most of us are aware that Chevening is currently closed because they are processing the applications that have been submitted this period, period. Now, what is going to happen is that further down the line, the application portals are going to open again. So you already know that if you are looking for the Chevening Scholarship, the best place to go look for it is the Chevening website. Now, but what happens after you get to the website and you are told that the scholarship is on and they are accepting applications? And that's why I let Janet speak to us, from her personal experience on what the application process for the Chevening Scholarship looks like. So, what documents are required? What kind of essays are you supposed to write? And then what kind of thoughts are you supposed to pass across in the essays? So, Janet, we open the floor now, and we welcome you to drive us through this process while Freddie comes in as your backup in the process and much later talks to us about the interview.
Okay, please, before I continue, can we just mute ourselves, please?
So
we
I
don't
think I'm
get
going to mute
interrupted.
everybody. Mute. Yeah, so you can please go ahead.
Okay, so Freddie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So I think we'll just do it. We'll just have like a discussion, both of us. If I should skip something, you could just add in, or if you want to add in while I talk, you could just do that. So first of all, I'll go through the eligibility criteria. And before we proceed with this session, I want to just put out this disclaimer out there on behalf of myself and for Freddie too. So whatever views we are going to give right now, it's our own personal views from our experience, and is not we're not talking on behalf of the Chevening or of the FCDO, just our own views as part of our experience. So you don't quote it as part of the
Ga ik
Chevening.
het alhamdulillah
Exactly.
zeggen.
So yeah, so I'll continue. So Chevening is open to countries around the world, including Nigeria. I know most of us here are from Nigeria, maybe in Africa. And the scholarship application runs through for a whole day. So now the scholars that will join in by September this year, they started the applications last year in August. So the applications for the 2023-2024 cohort is going to open on the 2nd of August this year. So I'm just reading through the website. The main criteria to apply for the scholarship is just to be a citizen of a Chevening eligible country. And then the second criteria is you must have plans to return to your country for a minimum of 2 years after your program. And you must have finished your undergraduate degree and have at least 2 years work experience. Then also you need to have an unconditional offer from any of the Chevening universities, any university in the UK. And then, so that's the major criteria for the Chevening scholarship. So the Chevening scholarship is just the UK government scholarship. Hello? Please, can you mute yourself, please? So the Chevening scholarship is, okay, yeah, you can hear me now. So that's just the major eligibility criteria. So what happens is, by August, the portal opens for applications where applicants go to fill in the application portal. You need to have your passport, and then you fill in just your normal bio about your work experience. So the major thing is having the work experience. So you need a minimum of 2 years, like they said, which is about 2,800 hours of equivalent of work experience. So this work experience could be full-time, it could be part-time, it could be internships, and it could be volunteering or paid work experience. So the internship that is not allowed is the compulsory or the mandatory internship that we do as undergraduate. So most times in your 4th year in universities, you have this 6 months internship that's compulsory. That's not part of the work experience criteria. But aside from that, any other work experience you have, including paid, unpaid, volunteering work experience, and then full-time roles they all come up to the work experience. So now, aside from these criteria, there's some other very key things that the Chevening committee looks out for in applicants that I've noticed amongst other applicants. So aside from having these key criteria, the work experience, Chevening is a scholarship for world leaders. So they try to bring leaders, very young leaders around the world that want to create impact in any area or field. So now there's no age limit. There's an age limit minimum, but there's no maximum limit. So it should be up to 18 years, I think, at the time of applying, but there's no maximum age limit. So applicants of 50 years, 60 years, 40 years can still apply for the Chevening Scholarship. So what they're just looking at is your impact. So now coming down, some people ask questions like, do I need to have a first class to get the scholarship or apply for the scholarship? But that's not a key thing. So the major thing they look out for is, first of all, yes, you should have good grades, although that's not a criteria because we have scholars that might not have very good grades, but when it comes to impact, they make impact in the different areas of studies or their different field or their different area. So about creating impact, what things they look out for people that are able to interact and build networks. So they need people that can come to the UK, for instance, and build meaningful relationships, and people that have in the past shown that they've been able to build meaningful relationships and use their networks to solve problems or achieve a goal. They also need people that have leadership qualities. And also, one thing that Chevening looks for in their applicants or in future scholars are people that have, when I say a focus, you should have a plan of what you want to do long term, mid term, like even if it's not very certain, but you should at least have an idea of what you want to do after the master's. And also, too, you need to demonstrate that the universities you're going to, you're applying to, you have interest in that particular field. You should show passion for your field. Like, if for instance, you can't say, I can't just wake up tomorrow and say I want to go and do a master's in, maybe say medicine and surgery or something, because I don't have a medical degree.
Hello, Janet. Your voice seems to be dropping off a little bit.
All right, let me take out. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, is it better now?
Yeah, much better. Thank you.
More better.
Yeah, so now one other thing again, I don't know where I stopped. Okay, so people that have a path or a career path, like you should have an idea of what you want to do. And also to the masters, they also look at for people that intend to use the masters that they're going for to get knowledge or the skills and come back to impact their home country. So now in the application process, you're supposed to write some essays. So we have to write 4 essays during the application process. And these 4 essays are the major essays that they use to determine if you are a very good candidate for the scholarship. So the first essay they write about is the leadership essay. There's another essay called the networking essay, the study in the UK essay, and then the career plan essay. Before I go into the essays, I don't know, Fred, did you have anything to add? Something that I've missed so far?
Yes, I would like to add that you don't need to apply from the same degree. Like for instance, if you get like a bachelor in chemical engineering, it doesn't mean you need to apply for a master in chemical engineering. You know, with Chevening, you can even apply for a master in law, even though you graduated from engineering. They don't really care about what you did in the past. It's all about what you are doing and what you are planning to do in the future for your country and for your community. So don't reject yourself. If you think like, oh, I want to make a career shift, Chevening is also a good opportunity. You can apply for the master you want. You just have to have like solid experience. It could be like social experience to support your application. Like I know a guy who was an engineer, but he did a master in governance because he has an NGO like which is tackling governance issues in his country. So you can also use Chevening to make a career shift if you want.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for that point, Freddie. And just to add to what he said, you notice he said something about having experience in that field. So if, for instance, you want to shift careers, let's say your first degree was in engineering, your second degree was in engineering, or maybe your work experience is also in engineering, for you to be able to prove to the panel that you want to shift to law, or for instance, you want to shift to governance, like that is French, it should be like a track record, even if it's not a degree. You could have little experience in that field you want to transition to, just to show that, okay, yes, I had the first degree, but I have interest in this. I'm currently doing something in this field, and this is what I want to go into. We have scholars, for instance, my current master's is different from my first degree. So my first degree was in chemical engineering, but I'm doing a master's in energy management. But that's because my experience is so far are kind of linked, and the problems I want to solve, that I intend to solve when I get back to Nigeria, actually links to the energy industry or energy management. So that could be a way to change career. But please, you need to be very careful if you're trying to have a total shift in a career. There should be maybe an experience you have in that field, or you should try to just do something currently in that new field you, as a justification that you have interest, or you're in that space at least. Not, yeah, I don't know if you get me, but that's what this is. So now going down to the essay.
Does the scholarship require someone to have maybe like to have completed a certain kind of like a national service, apart from the standard situation of, you know, having to meet the 2-year criteria of work? Does it have to, you know, does one have to complete like the national youth service, for instance, in Nigeria, or any similar service in any other country?
I don't know about, because we don't have national services in many countries in Africa. I think it's only in Nigeria and Ghana.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, but mainly I believe it's only in Nigeria and Ghana. But you don't have this requirement for Chevening. You only need like a first degree, and not a first class degree, but a first degree, something like a bachelor. But I don't really know if people with an HNG they can apply. I don't know, because I heard some stories about some people securing like master admission with the HNG. So I don't really know, but if in Nigeria it's the case, but in some countries you have some people with HNG who managed to have a Chevening scholarship. And the 2 years of experience is not only about working experience. You can even apply with your social working experience. You have some Cheveners, like straight after the bachelor, they're applying for Chevening because they were volunteering or they were working for some organization as part-time job. Like they have the 2 years of experience. It's not only working experience, it could be 2 years of volunteering experience.
Okay, that's perfect. Then the other thing.
Even add to what you say, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Even add to what Freddy said. Sorry, out now. So you don't need to do your NYSC to apply for Chevening.
Okay. And then staying true to what you have done and what you can achieve is also another thing. And it's also very important to also the understanding that you don't need to be restricted to what you've been studying before is another very good one, because many other scholarships would want to keep you in the lane of what you have been studying. Yeah, so, but in this case, you can make progress to any other path, and then, you know, depending on as long as you're able to communicate and link those new paths with the job you've done, the leadership positions you've held, and all that. So I think we'll just go quickly to the interview itself. Like, what does it look like when you get to that point of being interviewed? You've now been shortlisted for the interview. Like, getting to do the interview and all that. What kind of questions do they ask? What kind of things do they demand? And what kind of things do they request? Freddie, I think you come in on that.
Yeah, okay. During the interview stage, It really depends on the country, but most of the time they are going to ask you a question about your essay and trying to learn more about you, because at this stage, they would like to find out you are the one who wrote your essay. Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, during the interview stage, yeah, they really want to find out you are the one who wrote your essay, and they will ask you some question about your essay, and also if you can talk more about what you did. For instance, they can you don't have like a specific order of receiving the question. They can ask in a random order, but mainly they will ask you about your leadership, your networking skills. For instance, they ask me, or can you give us an example of a difficult situation you faced and how did you manage to solve it? And yeah, these questions they were trying to find out, okay, what was an issue you faced as a leader? And you can, in your answer, you can also provide some networking skills. For instance, you can say, oh, in my job, there was this particular situation, and to solve it, I set up a meeting, I invited everyone, we set up an agenda. You know, they want to find out what was the process of solving the issue. If you are a problem solver, this is what they're trying to check out. They also ask me about, because in my essay, I wrote like in my long-term goal, I would like to become one day a minister of energy in my country. So they told me, how will you achieve that? Like, can you give us a plan? Like, how after Chevening, what will be the steps you will take, like from your short-term goals until the day you might be appointed as a minister? So that's why you don't have to lie, because they will ask you specific question. And they also ask me why the UK. In this question, you can just trying to tell them what was the main point you like to do. For instance, I told them about what I would like to visit in the UK, and also because the master in the UK is only 1 year, one in many countries is 2 years degree. So that was my experience, because I told them, yeah, it's only 1 year, so I can focus on my career growth straight after that. But yeah, they really want to find out it's not only about uh, like the scholar experience, like the skill you will learn for your degree. They also want to find out how will you network with other Cheveners, and are you planning to visit the United Kingdom, you know, to learn from their culture? What would you want to do? For instance, I told them I was willing to visit some stadiums. You can give specific example. If you're a football fan, just talk about your favorite club. And yeah, just talk about the culture, what you will learn, and how you will contribute to the Chevening community, and how you will use your networking skills. These are the kind of questions they will ask you, but you don't have a specific pattern, because in some countries, sometimes you can have a shorter interview, or it really depends on the panel. But mainly, you most of the time you have three person in your panel. You might have like a Chevening alumni, and two guys from the UK embassy. So yeah, it really depends on the country, but yeah, they just want you to talk about your experience, your essay, and to give more examples if they need more example about your leadership or your networking skills.
Okay, so that's thank you very much for that. So I understand the questions are not going to be academic in nature. They are going to be more like interview questions proper, in terms of trying to make you prove that you are coming to the UK for this reason, for this reason. And when you are in the UK, this is what you intend to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because most of the time they don't really ask you academic question, because Chevening is not responsible of the admission process, because don't forget you still need to apply to your master choice, and Chevening is not, they are not the one who will secure a seat for you. It's your responsibility to secure at least one unconditional offer. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Janet, I think you wanted to mention something.
To add, like Freddie said, the interview is just a means of the panel trying to know you more, just trying to put a face to the words you've written in your essays. So most times when people lie, most times it's the interview that will get you. For instance, you talk about a project you've done, and the funny thing about lying is that they bring people that are even in your field, in your panel. So I think I had a friend, a scholar, that talked about the project she worked on, and she said lots of things about the project. And guess what? One of the team leads for that project was on her panel. So you can imagine if you had made up that that example, or she had made up that experience. That's how they would have known she was lying. So just try to be as honest and as sincere as possible. When you go for your interview, try to be bold, because they need people that are bold. Dress the part. That one you can't debate it. You need to dress the part, and then just try to show them that you're that leader and you're that person. So there's nothing really. They don't ask technical questions during the interview. You just literally watch what's in your essays, and then trying to know you more from your essays, and maybe most I think there's some things that are not clear. They want you to expand, and if you have new examples, like me during my interview, I talked about some recent things that had happened after I submitted my application. That'll be an opportunity to bring up those new examples that you might have. So that's just about the interview.
Okay. So guys, I think
please.
you are getting the point now. So you don't need to go and start reading maths on the day of the interview. All you need to do is to walk your storyline, all the essays you've written, try to connect all the dots, and the interview would usually be successful. Something on that line part too. I remember that when I was doing my own interview for a PTDF, I did my bachelor's and my master's in Russia. So I came with my certificates in Russian language and then a translation in the English language. So getting there, one of the guys who was on the panel happened to have finished his own studies in Russia as well. So if, for instance, I had gone to like forge the translation, manipulate it to make it a first class when it wasn't a first class, I would have also run into problems because, the guy has studied in Russia, he understands the language, he can, make direct translations of the words. So essentially for all the scholarships, I think one just needs to stay true to what it is and then try to build on what you have. Don't try to make up what you don't have. Yeah, so don't pull what you don't have, build on what you have, and then try to sell the story of what you have convincingly enough to get the scholarship. Yeah, so are there other tips you would want to mention? We are a bit of running against time. Any questions from the audience that are still here? I can see Shadrach and I can see who else. Yeah, so Shadrach, your hand is raised. Please go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My question is about the offer, the unconditional offer you should hold. So the application season or what we're applying for is for September, I believe, 2023 or 2022/2023 section. So the question is, for what year should you already hold the offer before you apply for the scholarship, or you have the potential to hold the offer? Is okay for to get the offer maybe at the time the scholarship is given to you, that's okay for them. Then secondly, the interview, is it going to be virtual or in person? Then okay, I think a run-off question is the study in the UK essay. Are we also doing 500 words for that? As in individuals, leadership, networking, study in the UK, career planning, 500 words. Is it each? Are we going to do that for each? That's another question. Thank you.
Okay, so Freddie, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, you don't need to have any conditional offer when you're applying. For instance, for all the guys who applied last year, the deadline to get an conditional offer is in July, I guess, mid-July. So you don't need to have an conditional offer right now. You can apply, and if you get an conditional offer, you need to have an conditional offer before next July, like next year. So it's okay, you can apply right now. They don't ask you, but in your application, you need to mention, I'm going to apply for this university for this master. You need to tell them, even though you don't have any conditional offer yet, and you can apply. And also another thing about a conditional offer, some university will give you conditional offer, but the condition might be funding. If it's only funding, it's okay. You can give it to Chevening and it will be considered as a conditional offer, because it's only about funding and Chevening will give you funding. So
Yeah.
yeah, so but because you have some universities, they don't write a conditional offer, they will tell you, oh, this one is conditioned to paying fees or paying like school fees or getting a scholarship, but it's okay for Chevening, you can send it to them. But if, for instance, in your conditional offer, they're asking you to write an English test or to provide like your transcripts, this is not okay for Chevening. You need to send them a conditional offer or an unconditional where you don't have those conditions. The only conditional offer they can take is where they're asking you to pay for school fees. And also, when you're applying for Chevening, if you are doing a master, they will pay for everything. But if you are doing an MBA, like it's capped to, I think it's 22,000, and you need to pay the amount above 22,000 if you are doing an MBA. But if you are doing a master, you don't have this condition.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think most scholarships, when you present an offer of admission that is just conditioned based on funding, they consider it as unconditional, like Fred has already stressed. The point is that they are the ones that are going to fund it, so they don't expect you to clear off the funding part. So, and again, if for instance you are from Nigeria, there are schools in the UK that on first attempt they would require the test of English language and all that, but you can actually write them, try to engage them, sometimes get a letter from your school that your previous study was conducted in English language, or that you've done some research papers in English language and they waive that English language requirement from you. I had the same issue myself, and this was practically what I did. So there are times when you can get a waiver. There are some other schools that will insist on the test for English language. In my own set, when I came, I think the guys who went to University of Manchester, they had to, engage with the school over and over before they could, get to any level of understanding. Yeah, but conditional offer, if funding is the issue, you are good to go. Any other questions? I think, okay, Shadrach's hand is the only hand I raised.
Yeah, there are some questions that I wanted to get clear on. The leadership essay and okay, the essays, all of them are 500 words maximum individually, right?
Yes, individually.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Then I think for the interview you mentioned, whether it's virtual or physical, generally that should, I don't know, but I think it should depend on the year and their abilities. I don't know if that's what to. Freddie, what happened in your own time? Did you have to go physically or you went virtual?
But in my home country, I did physically, but some Cheveners in other countries, they did virtually. So it really depends on the UK embassy. And also, you also have some special circumstances where, for instance, you can be from Nigeria, but you're applying from another country.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can also find a way, but I cannot say today what they will do. It really depends on the embassy. They will let you know, but most of the time, it's physical interview. But it used to happen. For instance, I know a lady. She was applying from Canada, but she was from an African country. But she did interview like virtually, while other people from her country, they did the face-to-face interview. So it really depends on, but it's supposed to be face-to-face interview.
Okay. Yeah. So except if the pandemic happens again, which we don't pray for, then you might have to stay virtual. But again, what is most important is crossing the application process. So focusing on all the essays that you need to write. And there is also a very important point that you will need to note concerning the essays. Most of the things that happen in the UK academically go through anti-plagiarism verification. So if you are going to write an essay, try to be original in the essay. There's always this temptation of, copying from someone who has got it and then trying to modify one or two things. Try as much as possible to be original. Yeah, of course, there is room for looking at what others have done for a learning, to help you learn what is right and what is required. But don't make the mistake of lifting somebody's essay because the person has got the scholarship and pasting it. Is going to harm you in the end. And most of these selection processes, go through that electronic system, and you don't want to be kicked out from the onset. Yeah, so that's it. I think any other questions from the audience? Just one more area I think we needed to touch on. Sometimes people worry about their stay in the UK. Life in the UK is expensive, right? And people would want to understand to what extent does Chevening cover their stay? Does it just cover the funding of tuition, or does it provide some allowances to cover the living expenses?
Actually, they will provide a stipend each month. And for those who are in London, they will have like £200 more than everyone. Like,
Okay.
for instance, but it's not the same amount each year, but they will display because they're always trying to adjust. It could be the same next year, like from what we have received this year. But
Yeah.
I cannot guarantee it will be the same because sometimes they are just cheating. We don't really know. So, but they will give you stipend. You can live with your stipend, like yourself. If you
Okay.
want to bring your family, you will have to support your own family.
Yes, sir.
But don't worry, you will not be alone. Like they will give you a stipend each month, so you can pay for your accommodation and for food. Yeah. But if you want to bring your family, if you want to bring your family, you have to support your own family because you have some Chevener who used to come with their wife and kids. It's up to you, but you have to pay yourself.
Yeah, but again, I think coming with a family is not as much a disadvantage as people consider it, because one of my friends who came recently came with a wife. And of course, being a student, you can't work more than 20 hours.
Exactly.
But the wife, who is a dependent on him, has got a job that she can work full time. So somehow, if you think about it, it's not really a disadvantage if you have a family. So you don't need to. And of course, there are times when people want to stay back in their home countries because they are married, they are worried about moving their family and all that. So if you have a scholarship that covers your studies in the UK, bringing your family is more of an advantage than it is a disadvantage, in my opinion, though.
Yeah, I think the
might
same
have
you
a
do.
different opinion.
No, I think the same you do, but it's just like, no, because as you mentioned, as a student, you cannot work above 20 hours while your partner can work full time. Yeah. So yeah, it's a trade-off. It really depends on what you want. But Chevening is only covering things for yourself.
Yeah.
But you also have some years when you have like people, their husband and wife. For instance, in my university, I know people that are married and they're both Cheveners. So you can even apply with your girlfriend or your wife. It's up to you.
It's for you to decide.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So that's just that. So yeah. Then I don't know, any other questions? And then if there are no questions, we'll do a wrap up and call it a day. Um, uh, so I don't know if you are trying to unmute yourself, you can just drop me. Okay, let me make it such that. Yeah, so participants, you can unmute yourself to ask questions if you've got any. Shadrach, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was, when I look at these essays, having written some SOPs before,
Yeah.
things like leadership, networking, study in the UK, career planning can all fall into one essay actually. So it's yeah, that's what I think anyways. But now you have to expand so much, since you now have to write 500 words for each. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be some work.
Yeah, so the idea is they need to really get to understand, because it's easier to identify when somebody is lying if you engage the person in a lengthy conversation, right? Than somebody just comes up to write a one paragraph of how he has led. You might not really be able to fish out the details of whether he's telling you the truth from a single paragraph. But when you put the person to the test of write me minimum of 500 words, and then you can begin to observe how the essay connects, how each sentence connects with the next one, and all of that. So, but these are not things that are impossible, in my opinion. So, what you might need to do is, if you want to study in the UK, then you need to have a good understanding of the UK, and you need to have a good understanding of the course you want to study, and you need to have, to some extent, a knowledge of the it could be the members of staff of that particular department you want to study in. So you are saying, for instance, that I want to study energy management, and you're identifying maybe a professor who is a global leader in energy management in the faculty you are going to. So writing about that professor is already a paragraph. And then you writing about the UK is another paragraph. And, trying to link that up with networking also. The Chevening thing gives you that opportunity to broaden your horizon, know people, meet people from different countries. You also can make a story around how that new knowledge is going to be useful to your country down the line. Because if you take what is happening in Nigeria at the moment, for instance, where someone who is contesting for presidency is going to Egypt, for instance, he probably had a contact in Egypt who he somehow, some possibly might have met somewhere outside of Nigeria, built that relationship, and he's using it at the moment. So those kind of stories could come in and be useful and beneficial in your essay writing. You just have to think wide and expand it, because it's a requirement. You can't dodge it.
Yeah, and also think about it like an investment, because someone is going to pay. You are going in the UK 1 year fully funded, so it's only 500 words. Can you imagine?
Yeah, for so much money,
For too much money.
Yeah. So think about it that way and expand. Of course, you can always reach out. You can always ask questions. Today you've met Janet, you've met Freddie, you've met myself. I'm not the Chevener. I'm from the PTDF side, but there are a level of similarities. But the point I'm trying to make is that you've met people that you can refer to and ask questions from. So if you are writing an essay and it's proving challenging, you can reach out on LinkedIn. You can reach out and try to ask, okay, I'm stuck at this point. What can I do? Or what do I need to add? Or maybe can you help me read through this? Those kind of communications, they could always be there. Yeah. So someone is saying thanks for the session. It has been a wonderful learning experience. Okay. We are pleased to know that at least you got some value from the 1 hour plus. Yeah. So any other question? If there are no other questions, want to say a special thank you to the people who made this possible. Special appreciation to the ladies, Janet, Precious, to the guys, Freddie. We are, I'm really very grateful, and we can already see the comments coming in that people were, they got some value from all that we've done. To the potential applicants, I want to say, I just want to wish you well, and I want to encourage you, don't be intimidated by the many words, and don't be intimidated by the crowd that is applying. Once the portal opens, you're going to have maybe like 1,000 persons, in your neighborhood applying, but you never can tell. The fact that you started planning ahead of time puts you, ahead of the rest. So Freddie has dropped his LinkedIn here, and then you can reach out to him. Feel free to connect with him, contact him, ask questions. Yeah. So just that, and I want to say thank you once again for making this possible, Freddie. Thank you, Janet, for making it possible. Thank you, Precious, for making it possible. And to all the applicants, thank you for joining, and we wish you well. Janet, I don't know if you have any final words. Freddie, any final words before we close?
Yeah, I just want to say good luck for the next batch of application, and I can't wait to see you as future Cheveners.
But you'll be going then. So they are coming in, you are going out.
But Chevening is a family. Well,
Oh, yeah,
like it's Chevening for life, so it's okay.
Yeah. We want to see you carry those posters. I am now a chef. How is it written again? I can't keep calm.
I can keep
I've been
calm.
selected for them. Yeah. We want to see that. All the best, guys. Janet seems busy at the moment, but on behalf of her, I want to say best of luck to all of you. We look forward to your scholarships, and when you come to the UK, drop me a note. I'll still be here, and if possible, we can catch up, one of these days. Thank you very much, and do have a wonderful evening and a good night first.